Okay, I always keep gasket sets on hand uh, for these 500 singles because I'm running three of them, and you never know, if you need something. So I keep an assortment of stuff on hand always. Like this is old stock from ProTech, which used to be a big deal in these 500 singles. This is one of the solid copper head gaskets, with your new old stock. Uh, they're designed to take the real high compression pistons, and this will go up to a 90 millimeter. So I was glad to run into one of these. I've got one that is already out to the 90 millimeter, but they're nice because you could just keep reusing them over and over again. You heat them up to anneal them, throw them right back in the machine, but they'll take a hell of a high compression. So, when they come up old stock, I buy them. In fact, I bought two complete ProTech gasket sets. It's funny, they're ProTech, but they're sold by White Brothers, which is another one of them companies. But the funny part is, they, they're again up to 90 millimeter, but $7.95 was the original selling price for them. Gasket sets aren't that cheap anymore. Like this is a new gasket set. This is out of Italy, Athena. And they're good gaskets. I've used these for quite a few years. But like I say, I like to keep a new one on hand. But another thing I keep are these sets of seals. It's the complete engine seal set for these 500 singles for all XT, TT, and SR. SR you don't use, like the point seal, and which is this one, and this is a tack seal, but they do cover every part you need. Now these I've been getting out of Canada, and like I say, I like to have them on hand. So I ordered another one about a month ago. And in a set like this, it's like $25 for the whole thing. Whereas if you start like parting out, like this is your sprocket seal, that's going to cost you 20 bucks. So the set is good. But the only place I found them is from Canada. So a month ago, I ordered another one. Over a month ago. Should have been here a month ago. But, with this tariff situation, it has got complicated. When I order stuff from Canada, it goes to British Columbia, then goes down to California. Well, it made it to California, and then for some reason, it went to Iowa. But it was still on time, and it was coming. But then it went to St. Paul. And once it hit St. Paul, it hasn't moved for close to 3 weeks. You look at the tracking, it goes, yep, it's on the way, it's still coming, but it never leaves St. Paul. Well, the other day I got a notification that because of the tariff situation, that the mailman, when it finally does come, if it does come, he has to charge me a tariff on it. They have turned the postal system into tax collectors. But the idea, originally this stuff, anything under $800 was exempt from that tariff thing. No problem. They just ship it right through. But that quit yesterday. Now, if my thing wouldn't have been hung up in St. Paul, it'd have been no problem. But I swear to God, they put it on a shelf and said in St. Paul and said, we'll just wait a while. And then when we ship it, we'll get paid. You know, this tariff thing. It got to be real ugly, this whole tariff thing. At the moment, because now they will charge you a tariff on anything. Um, and I have no idea even what percentage it is on Canada now. It jumps around and, it's just a mess, a complete total mess. So I'm waiting, trying to catch the mailman. If this thing should ever get out of St. Paul, then I have to pay a tariff on it. But now, to add to this confusion, yesterday, well, in the first place, now there's like 25 countries that refuse to ship stuff to the United States because of that massive confusion with these tariffs. They just said, no, anything that is being mailed to U.S., we just refuse to accept it. So there's all this stuff kind of in limbo. But now yesterday, then the appeals court decided that all of these crazy ass tariffs that Trump threw on stuff that keep changing and jumping around and that nobody knows what's going on, that they're all illegal. So now they're going to stay in effect supposedly until it goes to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court holds up this repeal of this tariff things, they're going to have to pay all this money that they took in for tariffs back to the people they took it from. But like I say, a lot of countries decided, well, we're not even going to get involved with this. This is too much of a mess. We're not going to deal with it. So they just quit shipping. In the meantime, my set of sealed is stuck in limbo in St. Paul. The post office is a shaky operation anyway, but then you add in that they're supposed to be collecting tariffs, that just makes it much worse. So I don't know. I've been watching that thing has been sitting in St. Paul for, like I say, 3 weeks. And every time I check, it says, yep, it's moving on to the next, but it never moves. I swear it's sitting on a shelf somewhere. But we'll see what happens with this. Like I say, it's a backup. I keep extras on hand, so I do have enough. But it's bugging a lot of people and really screwing up the postal system more so than it already is. I mean, I have trouble with them constantly anyway. It was all right until they built this new state-of-the-art mail sorting outfit in West Fargo, and now things a lot of times will get to West Fargo and then they can take off across the country just at random. It's like it's amazing, really, the journeys some things go on, which can't be cost effective, to be shipping stuff all over. Oh well, some stuff comes through. Like there, I got some of these fasteners, quarter turn fasteners that will replace the side panel. The fasteners I was trying to use, I wasn't happy with them, so I bought some other ones. Well, those other ones came out of Israel. These. No problem shipping from Israel. Now, if I'd have known they were coming out of Israel, I would have bought from them. I'd have bought them someplace else. But no tariff there. That just come right through. In fact, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think at one time they were trying to make it a federal law that you could not boycott companies from Israel, which was weird. But if I had my choice, I wouldn't have, I'd have bought them from someplace else, not Canada, evidently, because that's a bugaboo. But I did get something else. Well, but no, like something else that I bought. There's a seal that goes behind here. It is a check valve, and this particular motor now that check valve is bad. It's a seal and a little spring and a ball. And what happens it if the bike sits for like 2 3 days, the oil leaks out of the frame down into the lower end, which could make for hard starting. It doesn't normally have any effect on it, but if it gets cold, it can be hard to kick over. But it takes a while to leak down. But I know I've got that set. But the set that I bought from here in the U.S., but originally it came from Germany because there's a lot of parts for these that come out of Germany. Very good, high quality parts. And I'm sure the next time I buy one, it's going to be a problem. I've got two, so I've got a little, extra room to wiggle with. But another thing, stuff coming out of the UK, I buy parts from there. In fact, I have a manual coming from the UK that covers a particular bike. That's going to be a problem because I think we have a tariff deal going with the UK too. So there will be some fee I'll have to pay to the mailman if that ever gets here. But it's screwing up a lot of people. And it isn't like this stuff. The idea was, oh, this is going to bring jobs back to the U.S. It's not going to happen. There isn't suddenly going to be some company that's going to start making gasket and seal sets for these things. They're going to end up coming out of other countries. So you get that extra fee. But let's see what the Supreme Court says. But it's just a boondoggle. It was stupid. And at one time, they were saying, like, oh, we're making so much money off of these tariffs. They were just, they were tickled how much they're, in theory, making off these tariffs that, like I say, the appeals court says are illegal. So what are they going to do with the money? Oh, they said, well, they'll have to give it back to people as a bonus. Well, then that wasn't going to happen. At first it was, then it wasn't. Then they said, oh, we're going to use it to pay down the debt. Well, they made like billions from this tariff deal, but the debt is what, 37 trillion. It's not even going to make a dent in it. But in the meantime, it's going to keep nipping everybody who buys anything that has to be shipped in. It's an ugly situation. But yet there are the people who think this is just cool, who really sticking it to. No, you're sticking it to yourself. Huh. Then I wait on the mailman now. It's, and I noticed the thing too when I bought that stuff from the UK. It used to be you could figure dollar, pound, euro. It was all about the same value. There was, you could kind of estimate it. Who big difference now? Big difference. The dollar takes a lot more dollars to get something. We're just screwed. Man, how you look at it, we are screwed. But can you imagine the headache it's going to be if the Supreme Court says that yes, these tariffs were illegal, and they have to try to pay this stuff back? The boondoggle that's going to be. money that really doesn't exist. I mean, they spend it quicker than it costs them more to do this than it's worth. But he just decided, oh, it's an emergency, so I can use emergency powers to throw a tariff or the threat of a tariff. It's just a mess. And these things were supposed to be decided by Congress, but no, he gets it into his head that that's his prerogative. It's ugly, but in the end, it's the little guy that's going to get screwed. Though I know a lot of companies that are just quitting. If they rely on stuff from overseas, the company just folds up, and that's what's happening. So a lot of jobs are getting lost. It was a bad idea, just not thought out at all. But even when I asked the mailman about this have him collecting tariffs, he had never heard of such a thing. He has no idea what this is going to be. So if this thing ever gets out of St. Paul, I don't know what's going to happen when it gets here. I mean, oh well, we're just screwed.